The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened with unprecedented urgency. Representatives from 47 species materialized in the Grand Chamber, their holographic forms flickering with anxiety. At the center podium stood Ambassador Zixthar of the Crovenian hegemony, all 6 of his eye stalks trembling. "They've breached the quarantine," he announced, his translator rendering his panic in sterile clinical tones. "The humans are here." A collective gasp rippled through the assembly. Councillor Vinara, a crystalline entity from the Sapphire Nebula, pulsed an alarming shade of red. "Impossible. The Sol system was sealed 2,000 cycles ago. Nothing escapes a level 9 quarantine." "Nothing except humans, apparently," Zixthar replied grimly. Aboard the human vessel Indomitable Spirit, Jiggy adjusted her neural interface and grinned at her co-pilot. "Alex, I think we broke their brains." Alex checked the sensor readings, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. "Can you blame them? According to the data we pulled from that automated beacon, they've had us labeled as a catastrophic threat to galactic stability for the last 2 millennia. 2,000 years in timeout," Jiggy laughed, running a hand through her short dark hair. "Mom would be proud." The journey to this moment had been anything but simple. When humanity had finally achieved faster-than-light travel 15 years ago, they discovered something disturbing. A massive energy barrier surrounding their entire solar system. Not a natural phenomenon, but a deliberate construction. A cage. Alex had been part of the first research team to study the barrier. Jiggy, a quantum engineer with a reputation for solving impossible problems, had joined him 3 years into the project. Together, they'd spent a decade unraveling the mathematical impossibility that imprisoned humanity. Receiving a transmission, Alex announced. "It's coming from, wow, that's a big space station." "Put it through," Jiggy said, straightening in her seat. The image that appeared on their view screen showed Ambassador Zixthar looking considerably more composed than he felt. "Human vessel, this is the Galactic Council. You are in violation of Quarantine Protocol 777. Return to your system immediately, or we will be forced to take action." Jiggy leaned forward. "This is Captain Jiggy Chen of the United Earth ship Indomitable Spirit. We'd love to return to our system, Ambassador, except we were never informed we were in a quarantine. Care to explain why you imprisoned an entire species?" Zixthar's eye stalks writhed. You don't know." "Know what?" Alex interjected. The ambassador seemed to age before their eyes. "Perhaps it's better if you come aboard the council station. This conversation requires context." 3 hours later, Jiggy and Alex stood in a cavernous archive deep within the station. Councillor Vinara's crystalline form refracted the ambient light into rainbow patterns across ancient data cores. 2,000 years ago, Vinara began, the council encountered humanity for the first time. Not you directly, but your radio broadcasts, your television signals, your early digital communications. "You've been watching our TV shows?" Jiggy asked, incredulous. "We were conducting standard first contact protocols," Vinara explained, "observing from a distance, assessing cultural development, determining when you might be ready for galactic society. The crystalline being's light dimmed. What we found terrified us." Alex crossed his arms. "I'm guessing it wasn't our sitcoms." "You were so young," Zixthar said, having joined them in the archive. "Barely out of your industrial age, still engaging in global conflicts, still struggling with resource distribution, but the things you created." He pulled up a holographic display showing human history, the pyramids, the Great Wall, Machu Picchu, the moon landing. "We create things," Jiggy said slowly. "That's what scared you." "You don't understand," Vinara pulsed urgently. "Every species in this council required external intervention to achieve spaceflight. The Crovenians were uplifted by the Gen Collective. My people were given the gift of quantum understanding by the ancient preservers. Every advancement, every technological leap given to us by older, wiser civilizations." "But not humans," Alex said, understanding dawning. "You did it yourselves," Zixthar confirmed. "From stone tools to nuclear weapons in mere thousands of years. From first flight to landing on your moon in less than a human lifetime. You evolve too fast, you adapt too quickly. You solve problems that should take millennia in mere generations." Jiggy felt a cold anger building. "So you locked us away, imprisoned 4 billion people because we were too successful." "We were afraid," Vinara admitted. "The projections were unanimous. If humanity reached the stars, within 500 years you would dominate the galaxy, not through conquest, through sheer unstoppable innovation." "That's the most ridiculous," Alex started. Is it? Zixthar interrupted. You escaped a level 9 quarantine. Do you understand what that means? That barrier was designed by the greatest minds of 47 civilizations, incorporating technology from species millions of years older than yours. It was mathematically impossible to breach. Jiggy and Alex exchanged glances. It took us 10 years, Jiggy said quietly. 10 years, Vinara echoed. The Crovenians spent 3,000 years trying to breach a level 3 barrier before giving up. You solved a level 9 in a decade. The archive fell silent. Alex walked to the viewing window, staring out at the massive council station. What happens now? Zixthar's eye stalks drooped. That's the emergency session. Half the council wants to reinforce the quarantine. The other half realizes that if you broke out once, you'll do it again. Some are calling for more permanent solutions. War, Jiggy said flatly. A war you would lose, Alex added, his voice cold, if we're as adaptable as you claim. We know, Vinara said, that's what terrifies them most. Jiggy turned away from the ancient records, her mind racing. You want to know what I think? I think you've gotten comfortable. 2,000 years of technological stagnation, living off the gifts of species that came before you. You've forgotten how to innovate, how to struggle, how to grow. You're probably right, Zixthar admitted, but that doesn't change the council's fear. Then maybe, Alex said, joining Jiggy, it's time the council learned something from humanity. And what's that? Vinara asked. Jiggy smiled. That fear of change is just another problem to solve. The emergency session reconvened with Jiggy and Alex standing at the central podium, 47 species watching with a mixture of fear and fascination. We're not here to conquer, Jiggy announced, her voice carrying through the chamber. We're not here to dominate. We're here because it's in our nature to explore, to question, to push beyond boundaries, even ones we didn't know existed. You can try to cage us again, Alex continued, but we'll just break out. Or you can do something that apparently hasn't been tried in galactic history, work with us instead of against us. Why should we trust you? A reptilian counselor hissed. Because, Jiggy said, every problem you've described, our rapid advancement, our adaptability, our innovation, those aren't threats, they're gifts, and we're willing to share. Zixthar spoke up from his position. The human captain makes a valid point. We've survived for so long by following the old ways, the safe ways. Perhaps it's time we took a risk. The vote was far from unanimous, but it was enough. Humanity would be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Council, with Jiggy and Alex serving as the first human ambassadors. As they left the chamber that day, Alex nudged Jiggy. You realize we just committed humanity to uplifting 47 species who tried to imprison us. Jiggy grinned. Yeah, but imagine what we'll accomplish together. Besides, she added, her eyes gleaming with that familiar spark of human ambition, I'm already thinking about how to improve their FTL drives. Alex laughed, and that right there is exactly why they were terrified of us. Good, Jiggy said, let's give them something worth being terrified about, like progress.